Guys, happy Wednesday. Welcome to the Florida Treasure Coast Market Update. Today, we're going to talk about inventory at different price points. Stay tuned.
You better get fired up.
It's amazing seeing you guys. It's good seeing you guys. Happy Wednesday. We're here every single Wednesday, usually at 11 o'clock. Today, we had to move it to 3:15 because we're having some technical difficulties. So thank you for joining us anyway. But today, we're going to talk about inventory levels at different price points. What's an inventory level? An inventory level is looking at the amount of active properties that are on the market right now. If we didn't take on any new listings and we sold them at the pace we've been selling over, and that's a number we got to pick. I usually go with 45 days, but it could be 30, 45, 60, 90 days. How long is it going to take us to sell through that inventory? So today, I'm going to show you, and I'm going to break it down into 3 different price points. Okay, I'm going to write this down right now. I'm going to go up to 400 grand. And then we're going to go 400 to 600 grand. And then we're going to go 600 plus. All right. So basically you get 4 to 600 and then everything under and then everything above. That's how we're going to look at this. And I want you to be able to see this. I actually had a couple people, they heard my numbers and they said, Joe, that can't be right. And I said, maybe not. Let's look it up together, right? Let's check it out together. So right now you're able to look up the, or you're seeing the multiple listing service, which is the MLS. And that is the hub of all the base information for a realtor, right? So when I get a new listing, I'm going to put it in here. When you are a buyer and you go to Zillow, Truly, a Realtor, Redfin, Coldwell Banker, Remax, eXp Realty, it doesn't matter. This is the data that's being pulled into those websites, or at least the majority of the data, right? So this is where a lot of that comes from. This is the base of everything. So I'm going to come in. We're going to punch in Lucy for my favorite city, Port St. Lucie. And we're going to come down to type single family home. And you can see right now we got 2,123 listings for sale. Single family home listings. That does not include townhomes, manufactured properties, condos, anything like that. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to break this into price points. So let's look up to 400 grand. How many do we have? 606, right? And I can see that right up here in the corner. You can see where they're all at. We have 606 properties available, single-family homes in Port St. Lucie, up to $400,000. So now let's look from 4 to 600. We're not doing math quite yet. All right, we got 1145. So this is obviously the bulk of what we've got. And then let's look 600 plus. How many we got? We got 390. All right, that's some decent numbers. So again, 606 up to 400. We got 1145 from 400 to 600, and we've got 390 from 600 plus. So now what I want to do is I'm going to come up. Let's get rid of list price and go to active, closed. We're going to go 45 days. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of math here. Oh, I already went by it. So we got 23 days so far in April. I need to add another 22. So 31 minus 22 is 9. So all but 9. And there we go. We got 45 days. So we're looking at 45 days worth of sales. We have 545 sales. You can see right up here. But now I want to come down and I'm going to add another field, and it's going to be sold price. Okay, so let's look at properties that sold up to 400 grand. How many did we have? 261. All right. Now let's look from 400 to 600. And we had 244. And then finally, we got the big dogs down here at 600 plus. How many we got? We got 53. Okay. So let me kind of explain what we've got, and then I'm going to go through some of the numbers with you. We've got 606 actives on the market, right? They're being sold up to 400,000. We've got 390 that are 600,000 plus, and then we got 1145 in that middle, right? And that's a fat middle. We got more in the middle than we've got above or below. So that 4 to 600, that's obviously where the majority is. However, when I look at solds, we've got 261 up to 400 grand. You would think, okay, we've got quite a bit more in the middle because that's where the majority of these listings are. No, we actually have less. We have 244. And then we got 53 at 600 plus. So we're going to do a little bit of math here. You're not going to be able to see my calculator. That's okay. Okay, so if we're selling 261 up to 400 grand every 45 days, that means we're selling 5.8 a day. So what's 606 divided by 5.8? It is 104.48 days. Is that right? 1, 2, 3 times 45. Yeah, dude, that's right. Okay. Let me just look at this one more way. I want to make sure it's absolutely right. Times 45, 104. So we got 104 days. That's honestly really good. 3 months, a little bit more than 3 months worth of inventory in the up to 400,000. We'll talk about what that means in a second, but we got 104 days. Now, let's go 1145 divided by 244 times 45. So on that midsection, that 400 to 600 grand, we've got 211 days. That's, well, it is more than double, barely, but it is. And then finally, let's look at the big dogs, the 600 plus 390 divided by 53 times 45. We've got 331 days. Wow. So here's what I'm telling you. If you've got a $400,000 or less property and you're looking at, does it make sense to sell right now? Is this a great time to sell? What are my odds of getting sold at a decent price? I'm telling you right now, up to 400 grand, your inventory level is 104 days, meaning if we didn't take another listing on the market, it would take 104 days for us to sell out of all that current inventory at the pace we've been selling at for the last 45 days. If we do the same thing for 4 to 600, instead of taking 104 days, it's going to take 211. That's over 7 months. It's about 7 months. 7 months inventory. That is definitely a buyer's market. No question. And then lastly, if you've got a 600,000 plus, you're looking at 331 days. Guys, that's 11 months. That is a buyer's market, period, right? Period, end of statement. So what should you glean from this? What I would glean from this if I were you, or what I'd like to see you take away from this, is the fact that when you get a realtor in your home and you're starting to go over prices, yes, you want to look at sold comps. Be careful. A lot of people, sellers, want to look at active comps. What's my neighbor selling for? Who cares? It doesn't matter until they actually get a buyer and they close on it. It does not matter what the seller's asking. What matters is what is sold around you. And that's a tough thing for a lot of people to swallow. They want to compare themselves to these mythical high prices that are being asked around them. Don't get sucked into that. Look at the sold prices. But in addition to that, if you're up to 400 grand and I'm looking at 104 days inventory and I tell you, hey, your property is worth 375 based on all the sold comps, I'm going to tell you to list it at 375. You're good to go. It's a good market. If you're at 4 to 600, let's say I say, hey, your property is worth 500 grand. I might tell you, if you're really motivated, 500 grand might be tough. You got 7 months of inventory. Either you got to be comfortable waiting about 6 to 8 months, or you might need to be at 490, 485, somewhere around there to get in that top portion of sellers and attract the amount of buyers that you want. And if you're at 600,000 plus, I'm just going to tell you, dude, every single month, you've literally got a 1 in 11 chance of selling every month. And then next month, it's not like now you got a 1 in 10 chance because new listings came on the market. So again, you've got about a 1 in 11 chance. It's very challenging. You've got to have something that separates you. You got to have a better price. You got to have a better roof, a better warranty, a better negotiating realtor, a better something. You have something in there that sets you apart, or you've got a 1 in 11 chance. And remember, if it's 1 in 11 that sell and your home is not great when it comes to staging, it's not updated, it's got an older roof, older AC, older water heater, the yard really isn't that spectacular, the neighbors have rusted out pickup trucks, they're not really adding to your value, and you're overpriced, you don't have a 1 in 11 chance. You've got like a 1 in 100 chance. That might be nice. Right? So you got to actually be hitting on all cylinders to have about a 1 in 11 chance. So guys, there you go. There's a little bit of inventory. I don't say this to beat anybody up. I say it because, oh, look at all this. Clyde, I didn't check the comments. Hi, Joe Rosen. Hello, Clyde King. What do we got here? Amy Evans. So true. I agree with you, lady. Crystal Barker King, maybe the most famous person I know in Port St. Lucie, says makes sense. I appreciate that. And Amy says, on the other hand, what is active is their competition. People are comparison shopping. That's true. People are not just looking at, hey, do I want to buy this home or not? They're saying, hey, do I want to buy this home in comparison to all the others I have as options? That's a great point, Amy, and I appreciate you saying that. So take this information. When your realtor comes, if you think, hey, I'm worth about 400-ish, have them pull inventory numbers on 350 to 450. If you're about 600-ish, pull 5.25 to 675. See what those inventory levels look like so you can understand what your expectation to sell is and really know that specific market. If you're in a specific HOA or a specific zip code, or you're on the St. Lucie River, look at homes only in that HOA, only in that zip code, or only on the river. And then look at the inventory levels so you can see exactly what your competition looks like. I get people all the time that say, when's the best time to come in the market? Is it the spring with all the, spring sale? Because there are. From about this time of the year until September, early to mid-September, those are the highest sales all year. And then from September to now, those are the weakest sales, obviously. So a lot of people would say, oh, so then I should come on during the summer, right? Well, you can't just look at how many sales there are. You've got to look at what your competition is. There's also less competition typically in the winter, right? So what you want to look at is inventory. Where am I competing against the least amount of people, yet I have the most amount of buyers? That's the part of the market that I want to be in. And that's the analysis that a good realtor is going to be able to do to you and giving you for you, not to you, and giving you recommendations on what to do. Guys, there you go. Hopefully this is helpful. If you've got any ideas that you'd like me to go over for a future Florida Treasure Coast market update, feel free to let me know in the comments or with a private DM on Facebook, and I'd be happy to do so. Thanks for joining me, where we're here every single Wednesday at 11 o'clock, except for today was 3:15, but every other time, 11 o'clock. Have a great day, guys.